Hi there. Welcome to my shelter in place project, your kitchen and your pantry. Now, these rooms, or this room, I guess I would say, during shelter in place is probably getting a lot of heavy use. And so this is a great project to do right now. Um, some people your kitchen, when maybe you first started, you didn't have as much stuff or you didn't cook the same kind of food, things have changed, yada, yada, yada. So what you can do to organize your kitchen and pantry, and this is a great project to involve your entire family with. I'm going to show you all the things that we do or the tips and tricks that we do when we're doing a kitchen and a pantry. And then you can decide if you want to purchase products or just do what you need, get what you need to have. The first thing that we do is literally we go through each cabinet and take everything out, each cabinet drawer, whatever. I make sure, and we clean things out and whatever. And then things are put into various containers and I'll show you what that looks like. But when you're going through these kinds of things, get all your like items together. If you have mixing bowls that travel to some other cabinet, like get all those together. All your prep utensils, get those all together in one area. And you can see like how many spatulas do I have? How many ice cream scoops do I have, etc. So that's the first thing you do. Then when I do a space like this, I first look at where the dishes, glasses, and silverware are going to go, because those are things that need to be near the dishwasher, and the glasses need to be ideally like near the sink and the dishwasher, and you want those to be able to easily be put away and taken out. Then I'll often look at, if you're coffee drinkers or tea drinkers, do you need like a coffee station that's right by maybe your electric kettle or your coffee maker, and putting that with the coffee and the tea nearby. So that's another thing. From there, we get into pots and pans. I usually, if you have a deep drawer for pots and pans, I separate pans in one place and pots in another. And then sometimes I'll do things where if you have a lot of lids, you can put the lids in a container in that drawer, if it's a deep drawer, sort of on their side, again, to take up space. Or you can use the lids inverted in a pot or a pan to allow you to stack the things on top of each other. So that's the next thing. After pots and pans, we go into like an area for mixing bowls, an area for trays if you have a tray cabinet. Those are easy to put away. Other kinds of categories, Tupperware, that's another big one. And then I'm just going to go through and show you some spaces that I did so you can get an understanding of like what are some of the things that we find or how we put them away, so maybe you can think about things a little bit differently. So first I'm going to show you, like this is more of a pantry. Oh, I have to share my screen, sorry. Okay. So there we go. So I'm sharing my screen. So this is an example of a pantry where the person wanted their food in all these kinds of food containers. If you want to keep your food like this or your snacks like this, more power to you. Personally, I think that's a lot of work to every time you bring home cereal or nuts or crackers, to put them in one of these things. It does make it super easy for you to see stuff. But it's just personal preference if you want to do this. And you can get food storage containers on Amazon, Container Store, whatever. The next one is an example of, this is how we do kids' lunches, like lunch box things. A lot of people using reusable lunch boxes. In these deep drawers, if you have a deep drawer, you can see like I've put in these containers right here. These are called Like It bricks from Container Store. And we just put everything vertically, especially the lids and stuff, which tend to get out of control. So this makes it easy for you to grab one of these containers as well as the matching lid. That's another thing that we do. And we'll go into, okay, here's another example of things I do in a kitchen. So these Lazy Susans, in this case, they have like olive oils and things like that on these Lazy Susans in this deep cabinet. This can really help you make use of this space to use a Lazy Susan here. And if you have your oil and vinegars, like I prefer them to be in a cabinet right by your cooktop because it makes it easy for you to grab when you're doing prep. In this case, they didn't have the space for that, so we put them in the pantry. But typically I'll do them in like a cabinet close by. Same with spices, keeping them near where prep happens or cooking happens. So I'm going to go to the next one. Here's another example. Okay, baking items. So baking stuff, even if you're a family who bakes a lot, like having it like strewn all about is really hard. Now this is an example of baking stuff put in a, and it's upside down, put in a drawer. But I like to use these clear containers. I'll typically do one of like this one, like cookie cutters. Then I'll have one with like cake decor, and that can be like sprinkles, frostings, the little cupcake cups, food coloring, whatever. So those are the next kind of thing that I do. I just use clear containers, and oftentimes I will put these on a high shelf. The the clear containers with lids allow you to stack things so that you're going to get down your baking stuff all at once. So it's easy to take it out, get what you need, and put it away. Let's see. Okay, this is another example. That dreaded corner cabinet, for any of you who have a deep corner cabinet. In this case, this was the closest to her cooktop. So as you can see, we have like salts and peppers and stuff like that, and some oils and vinegars up here. And then I just used this. This is called a like a stacker. And there's ones for spices and there was ones for canned goods. But again, it allows you to reach the items in the back because they're placed a little bit taller than the items in the front. So we use a lot of those, and that's how we use the corner cabinet. This is another example of a baking drawer. Again, I like to put like packages, like this could packages of pasta or packages of rice, or in this case, her flowers and stuff were in packages and bags. And I put them in containers because it keeps them standing up. Boxes of things don't necessarily need to go in containers, but like loose packaging, it gets smushed and get things go on top of it. So I like dividing the drawers into smaller spaces. Here's another example of kids' water bottles and thermoses and things for lunches. And then here's another example of water bottles again. And sometimes people will store the lids apart from the water bottles. And so by having a container of the water bottles and then possibly a container of the lids, that can help you with how things are arranged. In this case, I think these are extra lids for these bottles. But again, easy grab and go when they're in an open container, or like when they're on a shelf. If it's a really deep shelf, water bottles tend to fall over and things like that. So I prefer them in a drawer. They can be standing up, they can be laying down. It really depends how many you have and what the space is that they fit in. Okay, now I'm going to show you this pantry before. So this is oftentimes what we have to deal with. This is a very, very messy pantry. So the after of this, to give you an idea, I lost my, hold on, I lost my pictures. Here we go. So here is an example. So these things on the floor, they're available from Container Store. They're called like It modular stackers or something like that. I should bring those up on the web before I close out, but I use those a lot on the floor for taking advantage of the space on your pantry floor. I don't like things being on the floor. When they're in a container, you can slide that out of the way if you need to vacuum or mop. Then we use, again, these stackers for canned goods. That's a way you can see things more clearly. And then using other containers for, again, like I said, loose packaging. I think this one is probably snacks and stuff. Probably have some baking things over here. So again, I like to use lots of containers. And then some other things generally in your kitchen. Anytime in a drawer, if you can use drawer organizers. This one isn't that organized, but I'm just sort of showing they had drawer organizers. I actually think this is a before picture, so my apologies. And then, but here, let's see what we can do. Here's an example of a drawer you might be using a lot right now with all of your wine stuff, having your openers and your cocktail type things all together in one place. There's wine charms. There's some of the bigger openers. Those rabbit openers are really hard to store because they're really bulky. But having one drawer for like wine stuff, or sometimes I'll do wine and cheese together. That's another category of things that I do. And then finally, again, like this is a better picture of a prep tools after. Like making sure that your things are, if you don't want stuff on your counters, you need a big enough drawer to hold all this stuff. So this stuff, again, needs to be where you're going to prep or where you're going to cook. So it's nearby. You've got measuring, you've got tongs, you got everything. And it really just depends on what you have. So in terms of, that's going to be like various before and afters. Actually, I want to show you, I want to go back to one more. Well, no, I'm going to go here. Okay, so here's an example of, these are pantry bins, Linus Pantry Bins. That's what I'm saying. I use these a lot in pantries. You can get a sense of like, I mean, these are nicer pictures by Container Store, but like how they use them, and then you can labeling things is really going to help people find what they need. This is another example. If you are someone who doesn't like a lot of plastic, these mesh ones come in various sizes, and I like to have various sizes on hand whenever I start any project, because you never know where it's going to go. And then back to Lazy Susan. So this deep Lazy Susan, it's called Linus Divided Lazy Susan. That's really deep. You don't need a deep Lazy Susan for everywhere, but in places like in a deep cabinet or something, or where you have these big bottles, and if you have the space to pick it up and pull it out of there, those can help. And it's divided, so it's really nice. Otherwise, just a regular Lazy Susan for your cabinet will work fine. I am going to pull up that, I want to pull up that thing for the pantry. I forgot to do this. So let me just do that really quickly. Yeah. So here's these Like It modular bins that I was talking about that are for the floor of your pantry. They come in various sizes, and you can see they're stacked, but I like to use them on the floor as well. So that is basically how you go about arranging your kitchen. You've taken everything out, you get like with like when you're doing your pantry, get rid of all expired items, make a list, especially if you're doing like spices and stuff, you're gonna wanna make a list of things that you might be getting rid of, so you know what you might need to buy more at the store if you don't have any of it. But getting all of the similar items together, and in pantries, making sure you have an area for snacks, maybe one for breakfast stuff, one for baking, like just really divide your stuff, and then using labels as much as you can. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you and your family tackle your kitchen and your pantry during this time. And if you have any questions or need any help or want to share any of your success stories, please contact me. My website is moretimeforyou.net. And I can also virtually coach you through your own project while we're sheltering in place. And when we're not, hopefully, if you need on-site help, we're here to help. Have a great day and stay safe.